Welcome back, viewers. First of all, my apologies. Right at the beginning today, we had a little technical issue where I was actually one of the cameras didn't focus rightly on me. So sorry about that. And we're coming back to John again, and we're going to come on to the books. John actually has written some interesting stuff there. Okay, John. We were just finishing off about what you say, what you think about people trading. You know, people who think it's easy to trade. You were finishing.
Well, I think it's an impression that some adverts do give that impression that it's easy to do. It is easier if you have a system. I'm trying to keep repeating this, but I think a system is quite important really for people who are starting up, because then it is actually quite simple. You know what to do. But there's a lot of emotional stuff, which and as I mentioned the sort of miser scenario. You know, I mean, the guy would just freak out, risk money if he were a miser. And there's a lot of personal stuff which the markets amplify. So it's like a therapy course.
I've also found that when you're looking for different types of companies who teaches, and a lot of these companies, they have traders who haven't even traded themselves and promoting teaching and training.
Yeah, it's quite dangerous in a way. There's a lot of people who, I mean, you know, it's one of these truisms that if you know 10% more than your audience, they'll think you're an expert, and it's, you know, it's the markets. Nobody knows. You know, I mean, I get a bit annoyed with regulation sometimes, because somebody makes a market call, and the regulators don't care about the call. They care about whether the guy's regulated or not. But you know, the people in the industry get it wrong as often as people who aren't regulated, and it's quite a strange situation, really. Because it's not actually about, you know, you can't really regulate for good market calls or good market trading. It's not. It's a skill beyond regulation. I think it's.
I understand.
Yeah.
One of the questions is obviously we want our audience to understand, you know, the risks and the consequences and the good stuff that can come out of trading from home and learning to trade for a living. What's your recommendation, and how would you say is the best way forward?
Starting up. I think a simple system. I mean, it doesn't have to be CrowdGap, but a simple system just sets the scene for trading and gives you a few basic rules. Which I mean, in my book, The Way to Trade, the first book I wrote in 1998, it was commissioned by the Financial Times at the time, and you know, it sets out all the basics. It sets out all the various rules you need to take into account. There's a model called the trading pyramid, which you need to model to make money. And none of the stuff is very complicated, but you do need to be aware of it. And too many people just come into the market, and what they do is sort of typical human emotion stuff. They put, let's say they buy something at £10 a point or something, and think they had 3 or 4 points, and they think, oh, 40 quid, I'll grab that. they take the 40 quid, because we're used to having, you know, we're used to getting the good stuff and grabbing it. But it goes the wrong way, and it's down 50 quid. They think, oh my God, I don't like that. And they would just walk away, and you know, off they go somewhere, and they think, well, I'll just hide away from it, because they don't want to accept it. I think, well, it's only on paper, blah blah. Next day, it's £100 down, and it's a continual process. They just can't take the loss, and when there's a profit, they grab it too quickly.
So it's very important to let your profit run.
You got to, you got to. I mean, there's a period traders go through where they actually understand. I mean, the first phase is they see a big loss because they can't take the losses, and they just let the thing run, don't know about stops. So that's the first phase. The second phase is they've gone through that first phase, they get a bit frightened, and they keep grabbing these little profits and keeping stops too tight, and they're just spinning the wheels, and you had to get out of that rut as well. And those tend to be the sort of two milestones, if you like, in a trader's career. I mean, the first milestone is realizing it is actually quite difficult. It is hard work to an extent, and many people just give up at that point because it wasn't what they signed up for, really.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
so
like
it's very important, I believe, is to get the adequate training and learning the systems and everything before you actually step into the world of trading.
I mean, with CrowdGap, it's an 11-module course. You get the course as part of the package.
It's amazing, you know. I've seen it, and I could vouch for that. You know, I could tell you, it's very easily laid out, very simply laid out. So it's something to.
I had help with that, I must say. I got some professional in to actually make it nice and simple and clear, because I wanted it to be. I mean, it's not just because I want it to be clear and people to understand easily, but that way I get far less emails saying I don't understand this.
Exactly.
So it's a sort of win-win all round.
It's amazing. All the answers are there, really. You know, there isn't many questions if you follow it really correctly.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. And I've obviously seen a couple of your books as well. Quite interesting. Now, coming on to the books, just before I go into that, I want to know a bit more of your bad experience. What was your worst experience in the world of trading?
Well, what stands out is the 87 crash, because it was in my first few months. I started in April 87, and yeah, the 87 crash was Elliott wave theory gave a perfect call for that market.
Okay.
But I was a very inexperienced trader. I'd been trading 3 months at that point. So I had £600 a point running before the crash.
£600 a point.
Yeah,
wow.
I would have been, if I just gone into a coma for a week, yeah, it would have been, I think, £500,000 or something. It would have been. Unfortunately, well, it was a good thing. Whether it was a good thing or not, I didn't go into a coma. The day before the crash, the day before the hurricane, actually, I closed 2/3 of my position because it looked like there'd be a bit of a blip up. I'll take some profit on this. Peanuts, yeah. Then the next day, the hurricane blew Hyde Park. There was a hurricane in London on I think it was the 15th of October.
Okay.
I actually had to walk. I was living in Belgravia. I walked across Hyde Park to my office in Marylebone, and all these trees. You know, you had to walk around all these huge trees that had been blown over in the crash. Well, not the crash, but the hurricane. And it closed exchanges. They were all I couldn't reopen my positions because they were. So I think I traded IG that day. In fact, anyway, on the day of the crash happened the following Monday, and I still had £200 a point running. But I closed it at the first hour. I made 20 grand, which in that day was pretty good.
Okay.
But after that, the whole thing became. I mean, I was just totally unused. Kind of had a 600-point move. I was selling puts into that, which is a huge price, huge premiums. So I was quite unpleasant. I mean, what's unpleasant? It was certainly an experience. It was certainly an experience.
I mean, now you trade. I mean, do you share your trades with your with people who are members of your
organization? Yeah, I have a service called the Big Call Service. And right now we're long of gold. We've been long of gold for a few months. We caught the latest rally. I'm riding the current decline. I mean, I don't know exactly what my subscribers do, how they trade it up to them. I don't tell them what to do. I tell them what I'm doing, and that they make their own.
You share your
decisions. And we. I mean, I run an option service. We're short of some calls on the DAX at the moment.
Okay. Okay, I believe you're writing books. What made you write your first book?
Well, the FT Commission. I was writing my newsletter, The Technical Trader, started in '89, and every month I used to do an article, a special feature. The FT came along and said, "We'd like you to write a book," and so I just put them all together and added quite a lot of other material and produced The Way to Trade. And what I liked about it was that it struck a chord with traders, because somebody reading the book knew immediately that I was a trader, just because I was talking about. But people who weren't traders don't really understand it very much, because you have to actually trade. It's an experiential thing. You have to actually do it to understand how it works, really. Yeah, it was very well received. I was very pleased with the response.
I can see here. I've done some research on you. I can see here we've got some big people in the industry actually writing one of the most intelligent books in trading literature, and that was said by a president of Trading on Target, Traders Coach. We've had author of Trading for a Living, Dr. Alexander Alder, An Essential Lesson Most Never Get. These are from reading your books, and a thought-provoking book. Author of Forecasting Financial Markets. So these are big players that are actually writing about your books. And,
it was well received, and it's now in Chinese. It's in Chinese, Russian, and German. In fact, it might be an Indian version. I'm not sure. I thought there was an Indian version. Anyway, we've sold a lot of copies, and it's been well read, and I get a lot of good feedback. So,
what's your latest book?
Well, I've got it here. In fact, it's called The Way to Trade Better. And people can see that book. And this is a sequel, actually, to The Way to Trade. It's just come out in the last few months, and it The Way to Trade was subtitled "Discover Your Successful Trading Personality." And my view is you can't just say, as a lot of books do say, here's what you're going to do, trade this way. I think you need to develop a system that suits you. And so if somebody buys Krakow, for example, the people who I think do the best with it make it their own. They just vary it slightly, they just trade it in a way that suits them, so it suits their personality. And I think that's quite an important step in any system trading. The way to trade better is transforming your trading into a successful business.
Okay.
So it's a step further away from discovering your successful trading personality.
I think it's an essential read, that is.
Well, thank you for saying so.
I've heard a lot about that book already, to be honest. Before I got in touch with you recently, I've heard a lot about the book, and that's one of the reasons why I felt like, you know, I should invite you into the show, talk a bit more about trading, tell our viewers, because I have a lot of viewers who's interested in getting into the industry, because I get a lot of emails, and one of the reasons why we've done trading for a living again. Now, what do you say to people who say, why you bother with books, selling systems and the basic business stuff when you know how to make money from trading?
I think it's just a process of evolution. I think we're all here to evolve to an extent, to do what we want to do, to make the most of ourselves. And I mean, I point at Apple Core. I mean, they've got the iPod, so why they develop the iPad? I mean, it's the same thing, yeah, because they want to evolve, and it's a lot more fun. Trading by yourself, as I do, as most traders do, doesn't actually take very long. I mean, an hour a day maximum. So there's a lot of time spent, you know, when you do something which is actually, frankly, more interesting. I mean, I like working with other traders. Nothing gives me more pleasure than when somebody succeeds. It's really, you know, helping other people is what life is about, really, I think.
Yeah.
Ultimately, everything, I mean, business is all about personal relationships with your clients and whatever else. And you know, it's what makes life good, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's a question many people ask, but if they were themselves in business, and if they were evolving, I'm not trying to say they're not evolving, but some people do get stuck in ruts. Yeah. They wouldn't ask the question because it's what life is about, I think. Really.
Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. Another question in regards to getting involved in trading. People need to know there's different types of trading. Could you tell us about a few different types of trading? You know, there's things like day trading, swing trading. You know,
yeah, there are a huge amount of them.
Spread trading.
It depends on. I mean, first you have to try them really to see what they're all about. I mean, if you're day trading, then every day you'll be taking a trade probably, or maybe more than one trade. That can be quite tough to find good trades in that shorter time frame. I prefer the longer time frames because I like to see moves develop, and I like to see big moves come in. And the big core service has caught some big moves over the years. I mean, I mentioned the Nikkei and gold, and hopefully gold again now. I mean, I wrote my book Financial Cataclysm Now in 2006. And I rather rushed it out because I could see we were about to have a massive fall, which we did in 2007, of course. In my book Bounding Trading, I went through the bear campaigns I did during those years, and there were some incredible trades. I mean, there were some fantastic moves coming through, and I do like those big moves. You know, I mean, first they're very profitable, of course, but it's quite satisfying to get something that's dramatic, and also you help people. I mean, you help people when you get the kind of cataclysmic move in the markets. And you can warn people about those, then they can help themselves. I mean, I remember actually in 2000, just as I was writing the book in 2006, I was getting a taxi ride from Dorking Station. I lived in Dorking at the time in Surrey, and this guy almost threw me out of his taxi because he was talking about property.
Okay.
And I was saying, well, you know, it's not, you know, property's going down near
We'll
the
have to
future.
come back to you again from
Okay,
there. We're going to just go back to a break. Viewers, stay tuned in, please. See you after the break.